Okay, welcome to AAC in the Cloud 2021. We're excited for this next presentation by Naz Yilmaz, and I know I said that completely wrong, but she can correct me. This presentation is Insights for Updating and a High-Tech AAC with Cognitive Design Perspective. Naz, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. So thank you for introducing me. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first time as a presenter, and I'm very happy to share information with such a great community. This is disclosure. I'm currently employed as a user experience researcher for Oxymo. I'm not receiving payment by this company for this presentation. I am voluntarily presenting insights for 1 year, updating the process of a high-tech AAC tool to share information with the AAC community. So today, what will we talk about? In 6 steps, we will talk about research, design, and development stages of a high-tech AAC, and testing existing design, benchmarking for AAC tools, personal preparation, challenge on this journey, and feature works. So, who is Oxymo? Firstly, let me introduce the AAC tool that we redesigned 1.5 years ago. AAC is a part of the Oxymo app. Oxymo is a startup that develops mobile games for kids who need special education. And founder of the Oxymo, Zafer, has a brother who has severe autism, who is nonverbal. And 5 years ago, he realized his brother's special interest with smart devices, and he sought to find games that will be useful for his brother. And these are the steps that did not contain ads, that will support his ability to communicate and learn. When he could not find the easily accessible games and communication tools as he wanted, decided to take responsibility to develop them with the team. Here we are, this is Oxymo team. And this is AAC team. AAC team is a small team of 5 people. It consists of 1 front-end developer, 1 product manager, 1 UI and UX designer, 1 backend developer and CTO, and 1 user experience researcher, me. And also, there were almost the same number of people in the team that produced the first design. What I want to say here is that you can try what you can do in this area without having an overly large organization. So why we do this? Why need to update? This is the first design of Oxymo AAC. Although there are users who say that they use it fondly, you can see many shortcomings here when you examine it professionally. When I started working as a researcher towards the end of 2019, there was the idea that the first design AAC had to be redesigned. Actually, we have about 100,000 users, and their requests showed us that we should do this immediately. That's why we got to work right away. We are trying to be a facilitator, not an obstacle to the narratives on sharing of ideas. Here I am sharing with you that we have received feedback that will be vital to anyone considering designing an AAC from scratch. Feedback from teachers and families, these are feedbacks we get. 2 of my students cannot see the pictures on the cards and cannot understand what they represent in the visible ones. There's the problematics here about interface and content management. And the second one, the places of the cards are not the way we are used to. Here are the same problematics here, interface and content management. And the third one, it's hard to explain things. Is it possible to remove some of confusing cards? Again, the problematics here, interface and content management. So the point we need to understand here as developers is that you're designing a communication tool. This is not an easy thing. You need to understand incredibly well who will use this tool. Since this is the communication tool, the personal preparation part is another point that will really challenge us, which I will touch on later. So at this point, I wanted to see how I would use what I learned in the cognitive science background. Here I share a design cognition analysis as well. Here are the components of the design cognition. Who, designer and user, what, design process and design artifact, and how, research methods and cognitive process. So who who designer and user in AAC redesign process, parents and families, SLPs, teachers, other professionals, and the most important one, the communicators, so the persona. And we are in the how part. This is about the research methods and cognitive processes, methodologies, and research tools. So in here, lower order cognition is perception and imagery. This covers the design of the cards and symbols, emotion, art, and effect. This is design of the cards and symbols again. The semantic processing is about the order of the cards. Knowledge and memory, again, about the order of the cards. And in the higher order cognition part, decision making is about the order of the cards and also customization and also the settings part. Problem solving is about the order of the cards, customization, and also the settings part again. Based on all of this, we planned the business as follows and follow this architecture in the redesign process. You can reach the article I took this schema from the reference section. I would like to thank the authors very much. It was really useful in the business planning part for us. We designed two interfaces in this process. First one is for us. Internally, we use it. You can think about this like an admin side. And also the second interface is for users. Sorry. Actually, we start the process in the middle. That is by developing the content part, content management. At this point, we test the first version of the product, and I will share the results step by step. Firstly, we get this feedback from the test outcomes of existing design. You need a color coding system. Color coding for similar aim buttons. For example, like the pronouns are yellow, verbs in green in Fitzgerald. Because the different professionals we get support, recommend us the Fitzgerald to us, we choose this system for the grouping. Secondly, with the support of this community, we understand the core words and their importance and choose a new symbol set to include the missing core words and scratch the missing ones ourselves. Firstly, we categorize our content. Then we start to adding missing categories and words, like the prepositions or social words. Like here, firstly color coding, then core, grouping and enhancing the content. These are the first most important feedbacks from the test outcomes of existing design. And secondly, organization and layout. It's also about the grouping and enhancing the content. Thirdly, we get feedback about layout and organization, arrangement of the buttons to be selected according to sentence construction and reading direction. You are seeing the distribution of different language syntax in here, reading direction around the world. SOV means subject, object, verb. SVO means subject, verb, object. English is the SVO language. However, not all language structures is subject, verb, object. Turkish is our other case, subject, object, verb language. So this was a challenge for us because we wanted to prepare a bilingual layout for English, for the both English and Turkish. And I will came this part again in the challenge part. Actually, our third part, benchmarking of AAC tools, inspired by a master thesis prepared in 2013, I created a benchmark rectangle according to 6 criteria. You can find this thesis at the reference part also. Let me check this benchmarking criteria. First, platform availability. It should be in both iOS and it should be free or very small price. Maybe it can be also, it should be also open source. Third one, easy to use. This is for therapists, child, parents, anyone who needs this AAC tool. Fourth one is pre-configuration. It should be downloadable content, and this is a must. It really must be editable. Fifth one is ability to reuse, share content with multiple users. This one for the therapist. And the sixth one, basic and not complicated layout. It should be suitable for universal design principles and AAC case. So these are the other criteria that I noted in our benchmarking process. There should be adjustable colors of screen background, words, etc. imported by visual or multiple impairments. For given interface, which means a design with either adjustable layout or icons, buttons with a size that will be easy to handle. Third, interaction modem should be the same through all of the app's interfaces, like a button with an image of house always takes back to the beginning of app. And the fourth one, large and adjustable images or elements through different interfaces of the app. Fifth one, possibility to attach remote devices for controlling the app, large external switches, eye trackers, etc. Sixth one is simplicity. Everyday basic communication is enough to keep it simple, so we start from there. Seventh one, adjustable content according to patient language, age, mental and physical ability, cultural origin, etc. Eighth one, repository or different downloadable additional materials, and also the personal materials. Since I do not want to give the names of other companies and apps here, I will only share the benchmark and criteria rectangle in here. So if you need, you can do the same work yourself with other apps in the market. Just using this benchmarking rectangle, you can give points in this six small rectangles for the finding the best option for yourself. Actually, when renovating the design, the hardest part is creating the personas. Personas help us with design decisions, page and layout designs, selecting symbol sets, etc. While redesigning AAC or aim was to make it available to everyone. This was our first aim. Not just the children with autism. This caused us to create very different personas. I will share 5 personas with you, like that. These personas I show here are inspired by the real people, but not real people, and they were prepared entirely so that the design and developer team could measure whether the design outputs fit with the needs. I covered the faces of the people in the image because they were photos taken from the Google image. So please just focus on the expectations, frustrations, daily usage and engagement, and the pain points while using old design of Osimo AAC. I will read one of them from each persona. This is Mike and his SLP rows. What their expectation? Mike does not know reading, so symbols should be easily noticeable and understandable. First one. What's frustrations? If one of the students cannot recognize the complicated symbols, Rose wants to change symbol set with an easier one. What's their daily usage and engagement? Mike and Rose use Osmo AAC daily and both are engaged users. So what their first pain point is symbol sets and home page do not lead to personalization. Our second persona, Ariel, what's her expectation? I have some limitations for body movements and my device should follow my eye movements. This is the first expectation. What's frustration? It's very important for the app does not freeze because it's very upset for me when I cannot save my thought when I need. What's daily usage and engagement? Ariel uses her communication device daily while she's at school or at home, every time and everywhere. She tried to use Osmo AAC, but it does not support eye tracking, so she could not engage with it. What's the first pain point? First pain point is app does not support eye tracking feature. Danielle, what's expectation? I can speak, but find to speak very tiring. There are too many voices and different visual stimuli in classroom. I use AAC for answering questions. What's frustration? In Otsimo AAC app, my teachers cannot find a place to create visual schedules for me. This is one of the frustrations. And what's pain point? Otsimo AAC's categories do not let creating different visual schedules for focusing and collecting the attention during daily activities. These are our adult personas. Eddie, expectation, easily speaking with friends or strangers at social spaces like cafes, buses. I want to use Otsimo AAC while I am at school with my students. What are frustrations? I want to have a personalized homepage. I want to keep things in my categories where I will talk to my family, speech will give at school or do at the association. And what are the pain points? Personalized homepage. Rachel and her carer Lily, as expectation. It should allow me to convey my thoughts, feelings, and opinions. I want to voice concerns, make choices like anybody should be able to do. I want to tell jokes and chat with friends. Sometimes I give speeches at conferences and I want to be able to speak up in important meetings. What's frustration? Oshimo AAC designed for kid usage. It does not give a chance to state abstract concepts. What are pain points? Rachel wants to add her own categories and symbols, but app does not let. She sometimes needs a speech that prepared before and save it for the conferences in AAC app, but Osimo AAC does not have this feature. These are the pain points from the personas. So, what are our challenges on this journey? Just back to cognitive design. We realized that the most important feature of a tool that can solve the needs and wishes of all these personas is that it should be customizable and flexible. So, big challenge, creating personas and narrow the design decisions. We start here. We find the solution, editable, customizable, and flexible design, and we are still working on it. The second challenge is about vocabulary and representation. Actually, finding a symbol set that contains core vocabulary and also support cultural expressions. This is the second challenge we face on. What's the solution? We draw symbols from scratch and we share them in global symbols. You can check them. Example, this is get well soon. We draw in English and also geçmiş olsun in Turkish. And here is a study conducted at 2012. How do young children think about and represent early emerging language concepts? So this is the study. Participants, 60 preschool children from different cultural backgrounds. Procedure, children were asked to draw 10 early emerging abstract language concepts. Children were also asked to name AAC symbols for these concepts. Here you are. Here's come and a child's representation of come. Here's big and child's representation of big. And here want and child's representation of want is who and child's representation of who. You're also seeing the percentage of, for example, for the come, only 10% of the child identifies symbol for come. For the big, 0% correct. For the want, only 4%. For the who, again, 0. These are the drawings of the kids. This is for come. This is for big. This is for want. This is for who. And I'm just realized that from this study, preschoolers represent language concepts in very different ways than traditional AAC symbols and reflect very different underlying conceptualization and meanings, include depictions of entire scenes or events, embed the concepts in a context, include complete objects, people in the scenes, and do not include parts of objects or people, usually include familiar people, objects, experiences. So we are seeing the pragmatic turn these concepts, symbols, and AAC design like in the cognitive science. So children think about the world in ways that are quantitatively and qualitatively different than adults. Neurotypical adults tend to rely on their semantic memory system to define concepts, but young children learn language through their experiences. They are more apt to draw on these experiences, and they use their episodic memories for the concepts. And we came from there to here. And also, our aim is making our AAC more editable, customizable, and flexible. We are still working on the edit mode. We're just working today for this. And making our AAC more pragmatic and context dependent. In here, it's also from the study, Melanie Fried-Oken and Dr. Jenny Slide, child's representation of who. They're asking about the who. These are the global symbols, who, the bottom one. Child's representation of who. Girl says, Mom, who is that? And Mom says, this is your new daddy. This is the who concept. Yes. So, making our AAC more culture and native language dependent, both in representation and layout and organization. These are the Turkish symbols that we draw from scratch. And these are the, again, subject, verb, object, verb. This is about the layout and organization. And also, this is the most challenging part for us, morphemes, and making our AAC more culture and native language dependent. You're seeing I'd like to try on a suite I've seen in a shop across the street from our hotel. This is English version. But inverse order of morphemes and concepts in Turkish. Otelimizin karşısındaki dükkanda gördüğüm bir elbiseyi denemek isterim. These are totally different. Although we have seen many studies in the field of linguistics, there is not much discussion in AAC about how to position morphemes, especially in non-English language. And I think that the studies in this field will be both exciting and will give many clues about the intellectual structures of different individuals and different cultures. So here are my references. And thank you very much. I'm waiting for your questions. End of my presentation.
So let's see. How many symbols has your group made to that you've put in through the global symbols?
Yeah, we shared the 300 symbols, wow, actually, and we are still drawing them.
Are you working with a university to do that, or just your group is?
No,
just students making them for you, or you're?
No, actually, just 2 people.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Let's see if there's any. Does not look like there's any questions at this time, but let's see. You have your contact information there. So if people watch this at a later time, feel free to reach out to Naz at naz@otsimo.com, and she'll be happy to answer those as well. We appreciate this. It's always good to see AAC growing throughout the world, and we're excited to see where you go with this. So thanks again for presenting to our conference today.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.